giving his verdict on Star Wars. Some strong language in Film 99 with Jonathan Ross.
Just before the Second World War, a Tibetan monk retreated into the Himalayas to meditate. He has had no contact with the outside world in all that time, and so has no concept of mobile phones, Nevis shoes, or the Channel Tunnel. He has sworn to celibacy, silence and secrecy, and to live and die in his lonely cave. Yet on Sunday night I got a call from that very monk asking me for my Star Wars preview tickets. No chance, mate, because the eagle, as they say, has nearly landed. Now, some of you feel slightly uneasy about contributing to director George Lucas's projected $1 billion earnings this year, then you won't want to hear him and Ewan McGregor give us their thoughts on Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. You won't want to see Darth Vader as a young lad called Anakin, or Ewan as the young Obi-Wan Kenobi fight top new villain Darth Maul with Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn, or gasp as the new spacecraft skip through the galaxy. And you definitely won't want to meet the floppy-eared Jar Jar Binks. But just remember, you can run, but you can't hide.
In the beginning of the movie, the Trade Federation, which has blockaded the planet and has spaceships ringing the planet so that nobody can come and go, have cut off all communication with the outside world.
Disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
I will not condone a course of action that will lead us to war.
The idea of the Federation invading the planet is so far-fetched that they have a hard time believing that they would take that drastic move.
I request the boy be tested, Master.
Oh. Trained as a Jedi, you request for him,
Finding him was the will of the Force. I have no doubt of that.
Bring him before us, then.
The central issue in the film is that a boy is taken from his mother. That's the central core issue of the movies. It needed to have some kind of connection with the audience.
Son, my place is here. My future is here. It is time for you to let go.
The part for me that was the most revealing was when I first saw some film from Tunisia. It was Star Wars.
Do not defy the Council, Master, not again.
I shall do what I must, Obi-Wan.
If you would just follow the code, you would be on the Council. They will not go along with you this time.
George described the role to me from the very offset. He was always very adamant that this was a very straight role. He didn't want to sit down and talk about the characters for hours on end. If at all, in fact. Quite happy not to talk to you at all, thanks, an actor.
But Master Yoda said I should be mindful of the future.
But not at the expense of the moment. Be mindful of the living force, young Padawan.
Yes, Master. How do you think this trade viceroy will deal with the Chancellor's demands?
These Federation types are cowards. The negotiations will be short.
Doing the battle sequences in a spaceship, I imagined they'd be all hydraulic and we'd be thrown around. But in actual fact, there's just someone in front of a light going like that, flagging the light off, and someone going blast, and we pretend to be hit. We'd all be moving different ways, you know. So I had to reshoot those scenes for acting reasons, because we just looked crap. It's all boy stuff. It's great. There's, cockpits and lightsabers and guns, and because you get so sucked into these films that you actually imagine they went into space and shot them, you know. But of course, the reality is that they're standing in a studio with somebody shouting "blast." So that was a disappointment. He did turn around to me at one point. He said, "Ewan, it's not actually real. I'm afraid we're not actually going to go and do that." I went, "All right."
The Force is unusually strong with them.
May the Force be with you. People actually say that to me for real, and I'm supposed to. I don't know what I'm meant to do. May the Force be with you, Ewan. Like, don't be fucking ridiculous. What are you talking about?
You hear that?
Yeah?
That is the sound of 1,000 terrible things heading this way.
If they find us, they will crush us, grind us into tiny pieces, and blast us into oblivion.
Ah. Your point is well seen. This way. Hurry!
And that report featured a soupçon of Ewan McGregor from the forthcoming omnibus, The Making of Star Wars, which you can see on BBC One on July the 7th. Now, maybe as a grown-up, I'm not the ideal person to tell you what I think about the new Star Wars, so I've cunningly drafted in a man with the eyes of a child and an unhealthy appetite for all things Star Warsian. Mr. Phil, whatever you do, don't get him started on his Wookiee impersonation, Dupitus. Phil?
Jonathan.
Thank you for coming in. So, you sat, you saw, you've enjoyed the new movie, at least I hope you enjoyed it. What's your opinion as a Star Wars fan?
I loved it. I loved it. I mean, but there's got to be a new film term. It's a retro continuity. I think it's a new thing that George has invented. He's got a. There's a lot of interesting sequences where you see things that emerge in Star Wars and the subsequent trilogy, and there's a lot of moments where you go ah. It's a film packed with moments, and I don't think you have to be a fan. It's a great romp. It's a big daft, lovely film. You know.
I'm going to let you in on a secret here. I went and watched Empire Strikes Back before seeing the new film, and I thought, I'm remembering that as the very best of the first three. I thought it was pretty dull and pretty poor, and Yoda comes across as just a second-rate glove puppet. I mean, he's moving his hand like that. You know, you can almost see the fingers working.
The trouble with Yoda is I just hear Fozzie Bear. It's a great job by Frank Oz, but all I can hear is Fozzie Bear and just occasional shades of Bert from Sesame Street. In Yoda. It's just that Yoda's a comedian. You expect his ears to waggle and him to do shticks.
Let me ask you about the real-life actors involved, because we've talked about the computer-generated beings.
Yeah.
How do you think Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, all the other actors, how do you think they hold up against the computer versions?
Liam Neeson brings a kind of sort of butchness to the Jedi we'd not seen before. They're kind of laid-back hippie-ish. He's a bit more kind of take charge, which I like. McGregor, there's not a lot of Ewan in it, actually. Surprisingly light on Ewan action, but when he's there and lightsabering away, he does a great job. And he's quite a fan, apparently.
So do you think the fuss is justified, though? I mean, we're making a huge fuss about this movie, which is really, if going by my recent exposure to the initial films, it's just a movie for kids.
I've never approached a film with so much trepidation in my life, because
I noticed the way you were walking in ahead of me. Something was up.
I think you've got to... Jonathan, you were there in the cinema with me, and when a large man 4 seats down starts hooting, you know you're in for a different film experience.
The nice thing about seeing the film with you, Phil, it was like having 27-year-olds in there with me. But, you know, my verdict would be, I thought it was bloody great.
No Wookiees. That's the only complaint I have.
Can we, just for those of us who missed the Wookiee, a small burst of Wookiee?
A small burst of Wookiee. Just for you, Jonathan. This is the only... All right, okay. Remember, Blakey from On the Bus is with a gargle. That's all you need.
I don't know if you've seen this. I'd like to present you with this as a token of our gratitude for you coming on the show. It's the Darth Maul bubble bath.
Well, it's technically, Jonathan, Bath Maul.
Bath Maul. You put your kids in, they come out clean, but...
evil.
There you go. Hey. Take it, use it, and may the Force be somewhere near you, around you, not necessarily in you.
Well, yeah, you know, we take it where we can find it.
I've decided to go back to Naboo.
Go back? But, Your Majesty, be realistic. They'll force you to sign the treaty.
I will sign no treaty, Senator. My fate will be no different than that of our people. Captain.
Your Highness.
Ready my ship.
Please, Your Majesty, stay here where it's safe.
It is clear to me now that the Republic no longer functions. I pray you will bring sanity and compassion back to the Senate.
And Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, goes on general release on the 16th of July.